I think it's time for us to start the meeting, maybe. Okay. So, firstly, with the advent of Ramadan, so Ramadan Kareem to all present here, and good afternoon, gentlemen. So this is welcome to the discussion session for discussing the audited financials for the year 2022 of Anwar Ceramics. So just to give a brief, I mean, we don't have any presentation because most of you would have gone through our financials. So just a brief, I will just take it up, saying that, you know, the revenue for the year 2022 grew by about 8%, from 25.7 million to about 27.6 million Riyal Omani. And gross profit grew by about 4.5%, from about 10.857 million to about 11.348 million Riyal Omani. And the net profit from operations was flat at around about 5.8 million riyals for both the years. And we had an extraordinary, a one-time aberration, or I would say that, you know, fair value impairment, which we had to account through P&L of 3.135 million Riyal Omani, due to which the net profit for the year dropped considerably from 6.27 million to about 2.934 million Riyal Omani. So otherwise, on the operation front, it was pretty flat. There was no major hiccups there. And consequently, the dividend payout has been reduced from 25 paisa to the proposed dividend has been reduced to about 10 paisa now from last year's 25 paisa, which still is a very healthy 75% payout. So having said that, I now leave the floor open to the analysts and the members present for any queries or any questions which they have, which we will be too happy to clarify. Okay. Yes, gentlemen, anybody?
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Suresh. This is Joyce from United Securities. How are you?
Good afternoon,
Ramadan
Joyce.
Kareem. Yeah.
Fine, thank you. Ramadan Kareem to you too. Yeah.
Mr. Suresh, can you give us some more color on the impairment impairment? Because there is some minor difference between the third quarter and fourth quarter numbers, 3.2 million and 3.1 million. So, and what's the current status of it? Can you give us some more color on that?
Sure. In fact, we had a discussion session sometime in November, mid or end of November, where I had clarified, you know, in detail about the investments which we had. Probably you are also there, and then I'm sure you would have gone through that. Okay. And coming back to that, in the third quarter, the impairment was 3.276 or so, and which came down to about 3.135 in December, which means it had improved by about 140,000 from the third quarter end. So whereas this is unrealized fair value impairment, as I had very clearly mentioned. In fact, if you go back to my our discussion, which is already there uploaded in the website, you will see that the entire analysis I had given, where I had detailed how it works and how the valuations are done on that, and then the entire details has been given there. So from there to the current status, I mean, I would not be able to give you an exact number as to how much we have moved, but I can say that there will be a substantial reversal of this impairment as of date, because again we need to see as on 31st March what it will be, because there is almost a week to go from now. But as of today, there has been a substantial reversal, a big reversal that is there from the impairment which we had taken as of December.
Okay. So So will we be looking at it from an accounting reporting perspective? Will we be looking at it on a quarterly basis, or will we be looking at it on a yearly basis?
No, we will be looking at on a quarterly basis. As you have seen, even for the third quarter, we had reported again on the fourth quarter. So it will be, we have to maintain the consistency, and we will report it on a quarterly basis.
Perfect, understood. From the operational side, I have one query that I have is we have attained, we have started the commercial production of the fifth line. So wanted to see, take your views on how the utilization levels are currently going, and also how was it in Q4 of 2022 last year? How was the utilization, and how is it behaving right now?
Okay. Yeah. So first I will answer your question on how the utilization for Q4 was. In fact, we commissioned by the end of Q3, and then we started trials from beginning of Q4. And then we operated almost, I would say, at about 40-50% in Q4. And it was more like a trial production kind of a thing. Whereas from Q1 2023 onwards, we have been operating almost at full capacity, I would say. And then we have made some trials on some more bigger formats during this time, and then which has gone to the market. And then we expect it to stabilize as we go forward in the coming quarters. Joyce?
So currently we are at 70-80% of the new capacity, and all other lines are operating at full capacity.
We can say that. Yes.
Okay. And how is the realization levels behaving, and the demand for tiles? Particularly, we had some issues in Saudi, so we may not be able to push the products to Saudi. So how are our the product offtake and the inventory levels currently and during last year?
Okay, fine. I'll touch upon each of your the points which you had asked now. Coming to the realization front, there are challenges. Hello, is it echoing? I think somebody is. Yeah. So coming to the realization front, there are challenges in some of the markets, like rightly you pointed out in Saudi and to some extent in UAE also, because the anti-dumping is removed there. So whereas to compensate that, we are looking at other markets like Yemen and Jordan, Iraq, and a few other markets we are looking at to see how to compensate that. But this going forward, the realization is going to be a challenge, and there is no doubt about it. And then we will see how to overcome that. But having said that, there is some light at the end of the tunnel in terms of on the customs duty imposition by Saudi, where there are some, looks like it is going to be a little easing now, where they have said that they will give some exemptions to the companies which are adhering to the guidelines of origin requirements and things like that, which we are working on. So once that is behind us, probably I think we will be able to at least get back the volumes there, if not the realizations.
I'll just add to what Suresh said in terms of I think the situation in Saudi Arabia is absolutely critical for us, and we don't want to underplay that. Any expansion in our capacities is always done with an eye on the Saudi market, because that's the largest market, and our ability to, and we've been selling in that market for the last 25 years without any problem. Now, all of a sudden, we have something which violates the basic customs agreement that we have between the two countries. So we are now, for the last couple of months, we've been paying the 12% customs duty, which completely changes the complexion of the game. And we've been told at every turn that this will be refunded, or indeed going forward, this will be done away with once we comply with some formalities. Unfortunately, it's taking time, and even as we speak, while we are getting signals that it might get resolved, as of now, we don't have a satisfactory resolution. Until such time that is done, the other markets that we are looking at are never going to be quite adequate to substitute what we need to do in Saudi Arabia. So we've been talking to the government, and we are indeed very surprised that something like this has been allowed to prevail for so long without, a clear resolution of this. So that remains, in my view, the elephant in the room, and that needs to be, tackled and resolved. And once that is done, then I think there is really nothing else from an operational standpoint of view. The new plant is, I would say, state of the art. We have invested 10 million riyals into just one line. So in terms of capabilities, everything, it's outstanding compared with comparable with the best anywhere. So we can make very large format tiles, excellent products, everything is there. But the only problem that we have is the Saudi market. And if that falls into place, then everything is okay. If that doesn't, then that it means that we will have some difficulties going forward in terms of selling the entire capacities at the prices that we would like to do. I mean, there are always alternative measures. We can sell it at lower prices and so on, but all that would be a suboptimality. So we are looking to see how this can be quickly resolved so that we can continue to move on like we used to do in the past.
Understood, and very informative, Mr. Shamsi.
Yeah, have you guys heard anything about how the government is looking at this, or do you have any insights? I'm sure there are many other companies facing the same predicament as we are. So what is your take on the way this is going to play out?
See, what we are hearing is there is a lot of discussions happening at various levels.
Okay.
But some companies are getting exemptions. For example, in UAE, Arkan Steel got an exemption, while Jazeera Steel here is still looking at for some exemption. Means they gave all the documents and they were approved, and so there are no customs duty because they were complying to the regional or the local production.
Are there any companies in Oman which have got the exemption?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only one in UAE you mentioned.
That is what I heard.
Okay.
But it is not a entirely closed chapter. There are companies who are getting these exceptions or approvals for this. So given that we have Saudi is our largest market, and we are operating at close to peak capacity. So are we to see some inventory build up, or are we pushing the inventory entirely? Are we able to push the inventory entirely into as Suresh said to Jordan and Yemeni market?
Not entirely. Not entirely. So this we will witness an increase in the inventories in the first quarter compared with the way we ended the year. But of course, the fact remains we haven't really slowed down the production or anything like that. At the moment, all the 6 lines are operating to capacity. So inventories are going up. What would typically happen is if it reaches a point where, and we have faced such issues in the past, if that happens, then you will have to slow down the production. And then, of course, that will help to check the inventory. But we haven't reached that quite yet. At the moment, the order books are okay. We are able to, keep all the plants running. Inventory levels are a little higher than what it was. But it can't go on like this. If the Saudi issue doesn't get resolved, then I think we will have difficulties moving ahead here.
Added to that is generally during the Ramadan and pre-Ramadan, there will be, traditionally, if you have seen even in the past, there will be a slowdown in the, in the deliveries. So that also has, that will also impact, which is seasonal in nature. But having said that, but then the big problem of the Saudi still remains.
I understood. So then since we are not able to resolve this in a fast manner, probably the next phase of expansion, are we going ahead with it, or we are still holding it and saving cash for the time being?
We're not going ahead with that till there is clarity on this. We won't be able to do that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Yes, please. I think Shaheen.
Yeah, Shireen? Shaheen? No, I think she just joined in, I think, yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Suresh. Good afternoon, Mr. Chinsudu. How are you?
Good afternoon, Shaheen. Good afternoon. Ramadan Kareem.
Thank you to you too. Mr. Suresh, I just wanted to get in the sense on the projects. We keep on hearing a lot of projects in Saudi. We do hear the announcements. What do you see on the ground? Is there sufficient uptake in terms of the project? Also, I would like you to touch on the UAE. We've been hearing a lot onto the property sector. There's a huge, increase in the property prices. How do you see the demand coming in? Are there new projects coming in? Are there new development? That would your insight would be very helpful.
Yeah. First, coming towards something, you will take it, or do you want me to?
Yeah, in terms of Saudi Arabia, there certainly is a lot of, I would say, noise about upcoming projects, although we are yet to see that resulting in any definite offtake, and that's to be expected because I think there will be a certain period before which it reaches a stage where our products are going to be used. But as we just discussed a while ago, the issue in Saudi Arabia at this point in time is not so much about the projects or the lack of it, it's about access to the market. And if that is denied, then no matter what the project activity, it is not going to be of much consequence to us. So, and Saudi has a very large retail business, and traditionally we've always been focused on that. Through a network of distributors and dealers and so on. So the entire trade in Saudi Arabia at the moment, to repeat what we said earlier, is contingent on a satisfactory resolution of this customs duty which they have done. So we'll have to see how that plays out. As far as UAE is concerned, it's much like what it was before. We've seen hikes in property prices and offtake in the past, then there are slowdowns. At the moment, what is obtaining in UAE is no different from what was obtaining earlier, in the sense there was a time when the anti-dumping duty had come in, which had provided an uptick, but that's now been withdrawn. So in a sense, we are back to where it was earlier. And the only other point worth mentioning about UAE is the recent upsurge in demand is mostly at the high-end level in the property market, and those are not the segments where we necessarily participate. So to that extent, that segment is not of much interest to us. So UAE largely remains where it has been. We are not seeing a major plus or a major minus there compared with how it was earlier. I don't know if that answers your question, Shaheen.
Yes, it does, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? Maybe we can wait for a couple of minutes, and then if there are no questions, then we can conclude the meeting.
I think that's it, Suresh.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining in, and then thank you for your valuable time and then your questions. So hope we have answered all your queries. Thank you so much. And then we conclude this meeting now.